Hello group, Jeff here. I'm going to try to show what I see with the long stack process in the Mallincamsky software and a camera. So I have been having a lot of problems with the cloud gods, so I've set up a little rig here that I think will show us what I've been seeing. So it looks like I have a DS10 Tech. I've got a Canon lens to T-mount adapter for the camera. Got a 3mm spacer to get focus, and of course the nifty 50mm Canon lens. So what I'll do is take this down into the basement where it's a little darker so I can get some noise going. And we'll see what we can do.
Hello group, Jeff here, in the basement, and I have Photoshop set up with the 7 images, and I also have Mallincamsky loaded, the latest version, and I have the DS10 with the camera adapter and the nifty 50 on a tripod in the basement pointing at a rather dark wall. So we'll start with Photoshop first, and I hope I can show you what I've been seeing. So this would be the first image in the stack, and it's noisy. There's no sharpen on this at all, 0. And this was with the DS10 Tech M16. So what I want to show is the what I would see with the older versions of the software. And it's my belief that something has changed with the new version that's affecting my long stacks in a good way. I don't have to do them anymore. Because what I was most concerned with is if I zoom into 400%, which is what I look at when I'm in Mallincamsky, I'm always zoomed in and I'm looking at the noise. And as you can see, this is a noisy image, even without sharpen. With sharpen, it used to be a lot worse. I mean, terrible worse. Which, to remove that sharpen or that noise, I would have to take the stack way out until it would look like this. No noise, beautiful image, probably maxing out the OTA and the camera. Beautiful. No noise, 400% blow up. I can go anywhere in the image, and it's gorgeous. This is what I'm looking for in images out of ROX cameras. With an image like this, I can then take this into post, Photoshop, and I can start tweaking it. And because the noise floor is so low, I can really push things. And basically, by pushing, I'm making the image noisy again, so I have to run some routines that will reduce that noise. So let me just back out of the image, and I will show you what I would see. We'll kind of focus on the eagle in here, and we'll go back to the first frame of the stack, and I would say that with the old software, after somewhere between 24 and 48 frames, it was kind of erratic, never consistent, but somewhere within that range, my image would do a jump. And to me, that jump equates into a Christmas or a sharpening of the image. And it would do that until all the noise was gone. And that took 300 plus frames to get a clean image. With the new software, it takes less than 24 frames. So I agree with Simon and Rock that it shouldn't take more than 8 frames to get rid of the noise, but I'm seeing that it's taken about 16 to really get it where I want it. So I will cycle through all of the images that I took with the new software and my long stack, and you'll see that if you just focus on the eagle, that after 24 frames, nothing changes. There's the first 24, here's 48, here's 80, here's 120, here's 168, and here's 208. Now what did change was the stars. I'll back off. So that's 168 now. That's 120. And that's 80. And basically what I did with this image was my new, what I thought was new, it may not be so good, is the sharpen routine that I'm doing, where I'm not starting with a lot of sharpen, because with the old software it was so brutal in the beginning that I felt like I needed to try something different. So by starting the sharpen later in the stack, it was my theory that it would stay cleaner longer because the stack had built up, and the average was there was more frames within the average, that if you started throwing some noise at it, you wouldn't see it. But that's not what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing the stars get blown up, so I'll zoom into 400%, and we'll focus on this guy here, or this region. And if you just pay attention to these big stars, you'll see that as I start clicking up in the frames, as I'm increasing the stack, the halo around the stars is getting bigger, and that's not what I would expect from sharpen. Now that could be, and I'm surmising here, that could be something that's different in the new software. And by starting the stack, or starting the sharpen in the middle of a stack, so to speak, it isn't handling it as you would expect. So that gets me back to, that's frame 24. This is frame 1. This is frame 24. There is no noise in this image after 24 frames. I don't have anything lower. Well, I'll do a test in Mallincamsky to show you where I think we have the cleanest images. So I think that based on what I'm seeing here, something in the algorithm has changed to where it's cleaning up the noise a lot faster. Or I had a problem with the software that I just don't think anybody else noticed. Because I don't think a lot of people in the group do a lot of post-processing. I could be wrong, but that's just what I think is happening. So having said that, I'm going to switch over to Photoshop now. Or not Photoshop, but Mallincamsky. And you can see the camera is running. I've got a little over 7,600 frames. I have no gain. My exposure is 75 milliseconds. I'm just white balancing to get so that we could see the noise maybe a little better. There's nothing in camera adjust, it's stock defaults. I'll hit defaults. The frame rate is high. We're on color. There's no flip, no rotation. Sampling has been no region of interest. The binning is additive at 2. The histogram is basically standard. There are no darks. There are no flats. The black level is at 3. It's not stacking at the moment. Conversion gain is high. Cooling is off. This is just a test, so I'm not really concerned about it. So what I'm going to do, you can see I have no sharpen. But because the software is so different and I have a lot more light than I would at night, the image is a little bit cleaner than you would expect, basically because I have no gain and my exposure is so low, so the noise is down. So what I'm going to do is up the sharpen so that we can see some noise, and that's 375. And I want you to pay attention to right in here. Whoops, sorry about that. Stay up, pay attention to this part of the image. And I'm going to enable the live stack. I have align frames on. The number is 8. I'm average planet, and we'll see what happens here after however many frames does it take to clear up this image. And I'm zoomed in at 400%, so we're really pushing the hardware here. So the stack is started, and that's 4 frames output, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 frames. It's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So based on what I'm seeing, after 24 frames, there's no reason to go past 24 frames anymore. That's with sharpen at 375. Now if I had a ton of gain in here, it still would be gone based on what I'm seeing. So between high gain and high sharpen, whatever they've done to this new version of the software, Rock, you must have gave them an extra cookie in their meal, because this is not what I'm used to seeing out of Mallincamsky. I would literally have to go out 300 plus frames to remove all the noise, in what I'm seeing in this image is all the noise is gone after 24 frames or less. Might even be in the 16 frame range. There was still a little bit in here right on the edges. That's all gone. And what this allows me to do is take this image into post and start cranking on it. And I mean a lot, because all the noise is gone. And when I start stretching stuff, I'm inducing noise back into the image because I'm pushing it so far. So that's a good thing. Golf clap for Rock. Hope this explains what I've been seeing and what I'm not seeing. So Simon, yes, you are correct. Rock, you are correct. After 4 to 8 frames, all the noise is gone. I never ever saw that, ever, until this new version of the software. So that could be because, one, the software has changed quite a bit from the last version to this version. Twice a year I do maintenance on my machines, to where I will go into the registry and I will physically remove stuff that doesn't exist on the computer anymore and remove that from the registry. So I do that manually. I don't use CC Cleaner or anything else to help me there, because I just don't like doing it with that software. Another reason might be that I had a problem with my computer, but I really doubt that, because it did the same thing on 3 different computers. And these computers are nowhere near. One's a Surface Book Studio, one's a Lenovo, 7-year-old Lenovo, and the other one's a Surface Pro 4 or 5, something like that. So you couldn't get any more diverse in the types of computers that I was testing this on. And before this version of the software, they all did the same thing. I had to take the stacks all the way out to 300 to remove all the noise. And with this new software, I'm finding that with all 3 computers, within 24 frames, I'm a happy camper. The noise is gone. So I hope that explains what I was seeing, and I will admit that something's changed. I don't know what it is, and that Simon and Rock, two guys you would expect to be right, are right. So I'm sign off now and see you on the group. Talk to you later.